Hello, Miss Garcia. How are you?
I'm good.
My name is Jarrell Turner, and I'll be your OT today. Do you mind if I call you by your first name?
I'd really prefer Miss Garcia. I understand things are a little more familiar in America, but in Mexico, strangers refer to their elders by their last names.
Okay, I respect that, and I will call you by your last name. Thank you for informing me about that information. What type of activities did you participate in before you had your stroke?
Well, before my stroke, I cooked a lot for the family, making traditional Mexican dishes. I really enjoy cooking, and my favorite dish is discada. Everyone in my family loves it. It's a traditional Mexican dish. I also used to watch my grandkids a lot when my daughter was at work and my son in law was also working. We'd play games and I'd chase them around. We'd play tag and hide and go seek. I'd also take them to the playground and they get to play with the other kids and neighbors.
All of those activities you just described to me are great. Are you religious or have any religious beliefs?
Oh, yes.
Okay, can you describe and talk about your religious beliefs that you have?
Well, I'm a Christian. Most of us in Mexico are. And I really value my Christian faith. I really prioritize going to church every morning, and I don't want, a stroke to get in the way of that. I have faith in God to help me through this process. I pray every night, and it's a big part of my healing process here. And I really want to be able to return to that when I go home. Um, and so ever since my stroke, I've been spending even more time praying than I did before, I'd say.
That's good to hear. I'm glad you're getting close and interconnected with your spirituality. So now we're going to talk a little bit about your social supports. Who do you rely on to help you on a daily basis with the activities that you struggle?
Well, I live with my daughter and my son-in-law and my grandkids, their kids, and I really depend on my daughter to help me, really with all the hygiene stuff. So she helps me in the shower, in the bathtub, and brushing my teeth and all that. Um, in Mexico, it's typical for children to help their elderly parents when they get older. I did the same thing for my mother when I was back in Mexico, and I expect my daughter to do the same for me.
Can you talk about some problems you're currently experiencing?
Well, the doctors say I got diabetes. They say it's really making me overweight, and it's because I'm overweight. And I get tired really quickly when I'm doing activities around the house, and even just trying to play with the grandkids. Ever since the stroke, my right side has been really hurting me, and it's really weak. I can't really even get my shirt on right. Um, and I don't have a lot of strength in my hands, to do the knitting. My daughter tried to bring in my yarn, and I couldn't even hold the needle point up right. And so that's something I'd like to work on.
Okay, thank you for the answers you provided for me. So now we're going to shift more into questions about you, your history, your background and culture to get a better understanding of who you are as a person. So for the first question, how long have you lived in the United States?
Oh, let's see. I moved here about 20 years ago now, actually, in 2001 at 58, if you can believe it.
Can you describe like the transition from moving to the United States?
My daughter married an American man and became an American citizen through that process. And so that allowed me to follow her a few years later. But in terms of the transition, I really think what I miss most is the food in Mexico. It really helped me feel connected to my parents and my childhood. Um, yeah, American food is just, it's either way too greasy or it's the bland vegetables and salad that my doctors try to get me to eat.
Can you describe your past occupation history?
Well, I worked as a waitress until I was 65. Even in Mexico, that's what I did. It was really the only opportunity for a woman like me with an eighth grade education. Back in my day in Mexico, only about half of my peers went to high school. We had to support our families. I've really just never been wealthy. It's been a good thing my daughter and her husband are able to support me now, though. And I've been doing a lot better financially because of that. I wouldn't be able to live on my pension.
Okay, from the start, it sounds like you had a rough transition, but as the years get on, you're getting more accustomed to being in the United States. That's glad to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So for these next set of questions, they're going to be questions on how you understand your condition. What do you call your problem or reason you're here today?
Well, the doctors also tell me that I have a stroke. You know, they're the experts, I guess. But if you ask me, I'm just getting older. You know, when my abuela or grandmother got weaker, she also got weaker when she aged, just like I am, you know? And they've been telling me my blood sugar is too high, but, you know, I've been eating the same foods I always eat, and God wouldn't have given me a mouth if He didn't want me to eat.
Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like you believe your weakness and stroke was caused by old age then.
Yeah, I mean, simple as that. It's if it's anything, it's probably that American salad and Splenda and sugar substitutes my doctors keep trying me to eat instead of, you know, my Discada. You probably don't even know what Discada is, do you? You know, my padre or father always made it for me in Mexico when I was a child. It's really just the perfect blend of meats: sausage, ground beef, ham, bacon, and lard.
That sounds delicious. I'll take notes of that, and later on, we could talk about some techniques and some healthy substitutes you could use to keep Discada in your diet. It sounds like it's an important dish for you and your family. How does that sound?
I guess I'd be open to trying it at least. Anything to get home and anything that's better than bland salad.
How severe do you find your symptoms to be? Do you anticipate them getting better soon or taking longer?
I'm not too worried. When you get to be my age, you know a lot of people, and that means I have a lot of people praying for me. My daughter tells me my whole church's congregation prays for me every Sunday during their prayer intentions, and I've been praying every night here in the hospital and in this facility. So my abuela told me God always provides, and she was never wrong.
I'm happy to hear you have such a strong support network at your church. I want to be honest with you by saying that rehabilitation can often take a long time after a stroke. But if you put the work in, we'll be able to help you function as closely as we can to the ways you were able to before.
Thank you. I do know God brought me here for a reason, and I'm going to try my hardest because I know that's what He'd want me to do.
Is there any other treatment in addition to your rehab patient that you believe you should be receiving?
You know, I just wish I had more time to pray. I do think it'd make a difference. And the therapists always show up in the morning at the same time as the chapel service here in the service at 8 a.m.
Thank you for sharing that. I'll make sure to let some rehab team know that you'll be at the church service in the morning from 8 to 9 a.m. How does that sound?
I'd appreciate that a lot.
In fact, how would you feel about OT coming a little earlier and assisting you out of bed through your morning routine? It would be a great opportunity to get dressed and clean for church while also working on your strengths and preparing to go home. Once you're dressed, PTs could even step in and have you walk down the hallway into the chapel.
I'd be willing to try that. I usually wake up early anyway.
Great. Learning strategies to dress yourself, bathe, and use the toilet will really be important so you can be independent at home.
That's what the therapists keep telling me. But like I said before, I expect my daughter to help me with all that stuff, you know? Even before my stroke, she helped me get in the shower and on the toilet and all that. And that's what's expected of kids in Mexico. Just because we're in America, she's not getting off the hook with that.
This is really important for us to know. Thank you for sharing. We always want to ensure that your input is taken into consideration in your therapy goals. Maybe we need to rethink your goals. What do you believe the most significant skill that you've lost you would like to recover?
Well, after my daughter and my son-in-law come home from a long day of work, I used to always have a big Mexican meal prepared for them. But with this weakness on my arm, I can't imagine being able to do that once I go home. Um, and I even have trouble remembering the order of things, and I just don't think I'd be able to cook anymore. Is there anything therapy could do to help me with that?
Yes, cooking is what we call an instrumental activity of daily living that OTs can work on with you to improve. That practicing new ways of using cookware and introducing you to adaptive equipment and memory strategies. I believe there is potential for you to cook with assistance.
Really? That'd be amazing. Even if I can't cook by myself, I would love to even be able to still cook with my daughter, just like when she was a little girl.
Yes, that sounds like a plan. We can now work towards improving your abilities to cook. On the topic of cooking, perhaps we could brainstorm some strategies to help integrate some of your doctor's recommendations for healthy eating, while still allowing you to prepare the Mexican cuisine that is meaningful to you.
How is that even possible? My doctor just wants me to eat rabbit food.
Well, could you remind me what goes into the Scottish dish that you mentioned? Maybe we can think of healthy ingredient substitutes.
Yeah, so there's usually sausage, ground beef, ham, bacon, and lard.
Hmm, maybe we could try swapping one of those red meats out with vegetables. Would you be willing to try that? Make changes to your diet have to be all or nothing. You can start with small steps.
Well, I guess I could try replacing the ground beef with black beans. I think that's how my tia or aunt preferred it now that I think about it in Mexico. That might even help me control my diabetes a little bit, admittedly. But what about desserts? I can't go without my sweets, and I refuse to replace any ingredients from my sweet buñuelos with vegetables. Have you ever even heard of buñuelos?
No, but they sound delicious.
They are. They're similar to your American donut holes. You know, my family always added powdered sugar to ours. We have them every morning at breakfast, even here.
Hmm, that does sound yummy. What other Mexican desserts do you enjoy?
Well, I actually haven't had this in years, but my papi used to broil mangoes, and they were sweeter than you'd think. Maybe that'd be a bit healthier than the buñuelos I'm eating.
I think you may be on to something. Maybe we could work on preparing boiled mangoes in therapy this week in our therapy kitchen.
I'd be willing to try that, and I bet my grandchildren would enjoy trying something new too.
That sounds great. To sum up what we discussed, how would you feel about working towards being able to assist your daughter in prepping discada and boiled mangoes once you return home? Cooking will be a fantastic method to improve your standing balance, practice visual scanning, sequencing, and experiencing using adaptive equipment to help you compensate for your right side weakness.
I think I'm looking forward to OT a lot more now.
And I have a proposal for you regarding your morning routine. How about we have your daughter join us tomorrow morning so that the OT can teach her some new strategies to help you in and out of bed as well as in and out the shower. This will keep both you and her safe and will help you get ready to return home faster.
Okay, I'm willing to try it. Thanks for taking the time to really listen and learn about me. You know, this might be the first time that one of your therapists or really any healthcare professional I've worked with has taken the time to try and understand my Mexican culture.
It's our job to understand our patients and our clients, and thank you for coming in and thank you for opening up and sharing about your experiences and about who you are as a person to help me understand, to help you get better.